It may seem to you like I'm always out in nature, but you know what? I'm not always out there. I'm not always able to go out there. But whenever I can get away, I try to get away. And yes, we're going to be making that gorgeous necklace. You will need the beads from your August Bargain Bead Box. And if you don't have any beads left, don't worry, because I will leave a list of all the materials down below in the description. And if you don't know what Bargain Bead Box is, I'll leave a link down below so you can go check it out. But it's basically a bead box subscription, and I really, really like it, and so do a lot of people. And by the way, thank you so much for the beautiful comments you left on my last tutorial for the minimalist necklaces. I don't always get to respond, but I always read every single one of your comments. And I had to laugh because one of my viewers left a comment and she said, "I hope you're not turning minimalist on us, are you?" And so when I read that, I had to giggle. And I thought, you know what? Let me make a tutorial for a statement piece. And that's what we're going to be doing today. Now, I'm going to show you two versions. I'm going to show you one piece that's less of a statement piece, if that makes any sense. And then I'm going to show you another version to make it more of a statement piece. So anyway, go get your tools, get a beverage, a cup of tea, a glass of wine, whatever your favorite beverage is, and let's get busy. Okay, let's go over the materials. We're going to be using the gorgeous flower pendant that we received in the Bargain Bead Box for August, and it's bag number 5. And this pendant is 30 by 28 millimeters in size. We're also going to be using the double-sided daisy links that came in bag number 11. And we're going to be using 3 of them. These are 16 by 10 millimeters in size. And I couldn't resist using these gorgeous porcelain beads. These are absolutely stunning beads. And we're going to be needing 6 of these. These are in bag number 14. And these beads are 10 millimeters in size. We're going to be using the pressed glass leaf beads. These are 13 by 5 millimeters in size, and it's bag number 8. And we're going to be using 4 of them. We're going to be using 2 of these beautiful flower charms, and it's bag number 12 from your Bargain Bead Box. And we're going to be using 2 of them. And I've already attached a 6 millimeter jump ring to each one. We're going to be using these pressed glass petal beads. We'll need 3 of them, bag number 19. And these are 15 by 5 millimeters in size, and they're in a magenta ombre color, really pretty. We'll be using these gorgeous iridescent moonstone glass beads, and these are from bag number 17. We'll be using 4 of these, and these are 8 millimeters in size. We'll be using some of these 4 millimeter crystal bicones. This is bag number 2. We're going to be using a few of these large seed beads. These are size 6O, and they're in an antique silver color. We're also going to be using some fold over cord ends, and I have a variety here, and there are 2 different sizes actually, but there's a variety of colors as you can see. I'll be using the silver one, and this is 4 by 8 millimeters in size, and we'll need 2 of these. You'll need some leather cord, and this is 1.5 millimeters round leather cord, and this is a pearl white color. We're going to be using some craft wire. We're going to be using some 18 gauge wire, some 20 gauge wire, and a piece of 16 gauge wire. All 3 are silver and they're tarnish resistant. We're going to be using some head pins as well, and these are ball head pins, but any kind of head pin will do. You'll need a lobster claw clasp. We're also going to be using some jump rings, and I have 2 sizes here. I have a 6 millimeter size and a 4 millimeter size. So we're going to start by assembling the dangles. And you will need some round nose pliers. So let's grab a head pin and one of these moonstone beads. And now you're going to grab the pin at the top of the bead like this. Give it a kink, like this. Switch your pliers around to this portion of the pin. And I'm going to move mine as far down the nose of the barrel as I can so that I can get a nice big loop. Wrap the pin around the nose. Flip your pliers around and continue to wrap towards the back, like this. Remove your pliers, and now you're going to grab that loop with another set of pliers, and I like to use these by Xuron. These are actually crimping pliers, but I use them because they have a very skinny tip, and I'm able to grab really well, and I use just the tip, which is flat. So grab the loop, and then with another set of pliers, you're going to grab the tail of the pin, and do a couple of wraps, 2 to 3 wraps, And now you're going to snip off the excess and tuck in the little end. Okay, let's do that one more time because we need 2 of them. Thread your bead onto your pin. Grab the pin at the top of the bead. Kink it like this. Switch your pliers to this end of the pin, and you're going to move the pin down to the white portion of the barrel of the pliers. Okay, wrap it around like this. Flip your pliers around and continue to wrap to the back like this. Remove your pliers, grab the loop, and then grab the tail and do a couple of wraps. Snip off the excess and tuck in the little end. So now we have 2 of these. Now for the petal beads, I'm simply going to attach a jump ring, okay? And it needs to be at least 6 millimeters in size. It can't be anything smaller than that. So we're going to open it up, and we're going to very carefully insert the jump ring through the hole like this, and then close up your jump ring really well. Make sure there are no gaps in the jump ring. And I'm going to do the same for these 2, and I'll be right back. So here are my 3 petal beads, and I have jump rings on all 3. Now for these leaf beads, we're going to do these a little differently, okay? These will not accommodate jump rings because of the thickness. So we need to use wire, and we're going to use 20 gauge wire. And here's my 20 gauge wire, and I'm going to cut myself a piece that's about 2.5 inches long. Now if you're a beginner, you might need a little bit more. Now we're going to insert the wire through the hole like this, bend the wire, and then cross the 2 ends at the top of the bead like this. You're going to grab hold of one of the pieces, and you're going to give it a kink so that the wire is pointing straight up like this. Take this end and bend it over a little bit more so you have a 90-degree angle. Grab the loop at the very top of the bead, just like that, and then grab the tail, and you're going to do a couple of wraps. Now this is 20 gauge wire, so you don't really need more than a couple of wraps. It's pretty strong. Once you have your couple of wraps, snip off the excess, tuck in the little end. So this is what you should have. Now we're going to bend this piece just like that, 90-degree angle almost. Snip it off so that you have 3/8 of an inch approximately. Grab the end with some round nose pliers, and you're going to do a loop, a simple loop. Just like that, okay? For me, this is what works best with this type of bead, okay? You could do a messy wrap with some thinner gauge wire, but you know, messy wraps never work out very well for me, and this is the method that I prefer. But if you have a different method, of course, use your own method. But this is what works for me for this type of bead. So I'm going to do the other 3 the same way, and I'll meet you back. Now we're going to do a little bit of wire work. We're going to create the piece that holds the center dangles, and we're going to be using some 18 gauge wire. And you're going to need a piece that's about 6 inches long approximately. We're going to be forming a series of loops to hold some dangles, and I like to use these memory wire finishing pliers by Beaded. We're going to be using the large barrel, the 4mm diameter barrel. So basically you're just going to grab it in the middle like this, and then simply bend that wire around the barrel. And I like to switch sides, so you just remove it, flip it over, and continue to bend that wire around until you get a nice coil with 5 loops or 5 rings. So here are my 5 coils, okay? And now with some nylon coated pliers, you're going to squish them down and you're going to lay them down at an angle like this. And I always like to come in here with some round nose pliers to separate my rings a little bit more. You kind of want to fan them out like this. Okay, and then continue to use your nylon coated pliers because that work hardens them. Separate them a little bit. And you do want your loops to be even, okay? But they don't have to be perfect. So this is what you should have, something like this. And like I said, you can always come in here with round nose pliers and fan them out a little bit more, separate them and space them out so that they're even, okay? Something like this. Once you have that, you want to definitely straighten out these 2 little posts. And you want to curve them in a little bit. Then you want to bring them in a little bit so that you have something like this. So now we're going to add some seed beads, and these are size 6/0 like I said earlier. And you're going to thread on 5 seed beads on each post like this. Once you have your 5 seed beads on there, kink it just like that, okay? And you're going to snip off the excess, leaving yourself about 1/2 inch, okay? And if it's a little bit less, don't worry because it'll still work just fine. And now go ahead and form a loop. Just like that. And now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to thread on 5 seed beads. Kink the post so you have a 90-degree angle. Snip off the excess. And form a loop on this side. Just like that. Very easy. Now that we have this portion formed, we're going to connect some dangles and we're going to connect this link. And this is going to go in the middle like this. And I have 4mm jump rings here, as you can see. So grab a 4mm jump ring. Open it up, connect it to the link, and then connect it to the middle loop out of the 5. Close up your jump ring. And now we're going to connect the leaves, but I'm going to make a little change, okay? I don't want the loop to be like this. I want it to be like this, okay? So that it's lined up with a leaf, as you can see, okay? So to do that, you simply grab it like this, grab the bottom portion and give it a little turn like this. So this is what you should have. Once you've done that, grab a jump ring, loop on a leaf just like this, and then attach it to the next loop over. And grab another jump ring, and we'll attach this one. And now we're going to attach it to this loop here. And sometimes it's better to just lay it on the mat like this, okay, when you have so many loops. So that's what we have so far. And now we're going to attach a petal. And I'm going to put one at the bottom here. And as you can see, the concave side is going to be facing the back. So that'll be the front. And since it already has a jump ring, we'll just use this one. So go ahead and open it and attach it to the bottom of this daisy link. So this is what you should have. Now we're going to attach these two petals just like that. So once again, open it up, make sure it's facing the right direction, and attach it to that loop. And now we're going to attach this one. And isn't that adorable? I love it. You could potentially use the petals this way too, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. It's personal preference. I just prefer this way. Now this piece is going to be completely optional. You do not have to attach this piece to the necklace. What this will do is it'll embellish the necklace and make it more of a statement piece. But it's totally optional. You really don't have to attach this piece, okay? But let's put it off to the side for the time being, because now we're going to form the main portion of the necklace. We're going to be cutting a piece of 16 gauge wire, and it's going to be about 5 inches long. And you might want to straighten it out a little bit before you cut it. Now before we thread anything onto it, we're going to form a loop at one end. So grab your round nose pliers, and mine's going to be a pretty big loop, so I'm going to grab it at the very base of my barrel here. Just like that, okay? I have my dangles and beads ready, but the first thing we're going to do is attach some jump rings to these dangles here. I'm going to be attaching 4mm jump rings to the leaves. And you want to go ahead and close them up really well. And the moonstone dangles are going to have the 6mm jump rings. And the reason I'm putting 6mm on these is because I want them to hang a little bit lower. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and start threading everything. And by the way, I did change the orientation of these two loops, and I have two 6/0 seed beads, as you can see. And I'm going to show you the version without the center focal, okay? We're going to start by threading one of these moonstone beads, and then a porcelain bead, and then one of these leaf dangles, another porcelain bead, and now one of these flowered charms, a seed bead, the beautiful flower pendant, another seed bead. And by the way, if you're using 16 gauge, you want to make sure that it fits through your seed beads, okay? Some seed beads have small holes depending on the brand. and a porcelain bead, a flower charm, porcelain bead, leaf dangle, porcelain bead, and moonstone dangle. And this is what it looks like. And this looks really cute just like that. Okay, you do not have to add a focal. If you add this below it, it's going to turn it more into a statement piece. Okay, so you have that option. You can just keep it like that. But now I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like with this piece on. So let's go ahead and remove some of these beads. So this is what you should have. Now we're going to thread on one of these loops like this, and then a seed bead, and the flower pendant, another seed bead, and now you're going to very carefully insert the other loop, just like that. Let me show you what it looks like from the back. Okay. And now we thread a porcelain bead, a flower charm, another porcelain bead, a leaf dangle, porcelain bead, and moonstone dangle. And this is what you should have. Let me lay it down so you can see what it looks like. See how pretty that looks? Let me show you the back again. And as you can see, the reason we have these seed beads here is for spacing, okay? I added them because I wanted to make sure that these porcelain beads sat nicely up against this pendant. So this is definitely a statement piece, as you can see, all right? And like I said, you do not have to add this portion here, but I think it looks really pretty. So now that we've done that, we're going to form the loop at this end, okay? So you want to move all your beads down. And since that's a big loop, I'm going to make sure I leave myself enough wire on this end, okay? At least 1/2 inch, maybe more. And then using the fat portion of my barrel, I'm going to form a loop. Just like that, okay? Make sure that both of your loops are the same size. So now that we've formed the main piece of the necklace, we're going to build 2 components, one on each loop. You're going to need 2 pieces of 18 gauge wire. Each one is about 2.5 inches long. And you're going to start by forming a loop at one end. So give it a kink, just like that, 90-degree angle, and then form a loop. Just like that. I have 2 moonstone beads and 4 bicones. We're going to thread on a bicone, a moonstone bead, another bicone, bring them down like this, grab the wire at the top of the bead, line up the bottom loop like this, give it a kink, snip off the excess, and form a loop. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to make another one exactly the same and I'll be right back. I have my 2 components built, as you can see, and now we're just going to attach them. So just grab it, open up the loop, thread it onto this one here, close it up, and same thing on this side. So this part is done, and isn't that adorable? I love it. So now we're going to finish the strands, and the next thing that we're going to add are these links, one on each end. But we're not going to do that just yet. We're going to cut ourselves some leather cord first, attach it to the links, and then once that's done, we'll attach the links to these beaded components. You're going to need 2 pieces. Each one is going to be 12 inches long, but it depends on how long you want your necklace, okay? It's completely up to you how long you want your necklace to be. Keep in mind that each one of these is going to be folded, so it's actually a 6-inch strand. And also keep in mind that the clasp will add another inch to the overall length. You're also going to be using some 20 gauge wire, and you want 2 pieces that are about 4 inches long. Take one of the pieces of leather cord, thread it through one of the links. Bring the link to the center of your leather cord. Just like that. And now we're going to grab a piece of wire and we're going to form a loop at this end. And it's going to be in the shape of a P. And I do recommend that you straighten your wire. As you can see, we have a P shape, and that's what you want for this part, okay? And this method, guys, is something that I came up with on my own because I just have a hard time making coils with 20 gauge wire. I really do, because I have a little bit of arthritis in my hands. So I'm always looking for easy ways to do things, and I discovered this method a while ago, and I've been using it quite a bit because it works really well for me. So the easiest way to do this is to pinch your leather cord just like this. Take your loop and place it underneath like this. Like this, okay? This is a bit fiddly, but once you get it going, it's easy. Once the loop is underneath there, you're going to grab the whole thing with some pliers, just like that, okay? Take some of the pliers and grab the wire and go ahead and coil it. Some of you may be able to do this manually without pliers, okay? If you have strong fingers and you can do it, by all means do it. And you're going to do approximately, I don't know, 5, maybe 6 wraps. It's up to you how many you want to do. Once you've done your desired number of wraps, take that loop, move it away from your leather cord, snip it off real carefully. Try not to snip your leather cord. And tuck the little end down so it's not sticking out. You can squish your coils together if you need to. Okay? You definitely want that little end to be squished down. You don't want it sticking out. Once you've done that, turn it over and snip off this end. And same thing again. You want to try to tuck that little end in so that it's not poking out, okay? And you want to try to maintain the integrity of the coils. And that's basically it, okay? This is an easy way to wrap some coil around your leather. Notice how the cord is slightly twisted. That's what I want because I want these 2 strands to lay flat against my chest. But it's not a big deal if you can't achieve that, okay? So now that we've done that, let me go ahead and do the other one off camera and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. As you can see, I have both links connected. And now what I want to do is I want to make sure that both of my strands are the same length. So just hold them up like this. Make sure they're lined up and trim them off wherever you need to trim them off to make sure they're identical. Once you've done that, take one of them, make sure your cords are parallel to each other, line them up, come down to this end, grab one of these cord ends, insert your leather cord inside just like this. Take some flat nose pliers, bend one of the sides, just like that, and then go ahead and bend the other flap. And then what I like to do is get some nylon coated pliers and smooth it out. You want to make sure there are no sharp edges. And this is what you should have. Pretty simple. Same thing with this one. Line up your leather cord. Insert both ends into your fold over cord end. Bend one of the sides carefully. And then bend the other side. Smooth out the edges. And that's it. Now that we have these two strands, we're going to connect them to the focal part of the necklace. So you're going to take one of these beaded components, open up the loop, connect one of these links, just like that, and then close it up. Same thing on this side. Open up the loop. Connect your strand and close it up. And now grab a jump ring, a large one, 6mm jump ring. Open it up. Connect it to the cord end. Connect your lobster claw clasp. And close up your jump ring. Now these cord ends are pretty thin, so you want to make sure there are no gaps in your jump rings at all because they will slide through, okay? And now let's go ahead and connect this jump ring. And that's it, guys. It's an absolutely gorgeous necklace. I love it. It's so pretty. I love the colors. So romantic looking. Another thing you can do is adjust this piece here. You can actually bend it a little bit more if you need to. Okay. So what I would suggest you do is take it to the mirror and see how it hangs, and you may have to adjust that a little bit more, bend it a little bit more. It's up to you. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and put this on and show you what it looks like. Well, what do you think? Isn't it gorgeous? Let me come up closer so you can take a better look. Look how pretty that is. Oh my gosh. It's so romantic and so feminine. Well, I hope the tutorial is easy to follow. I hope you can make your own necklace. And even if you don't have these beads, I'm sure you can find something similar. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.